Hello everyone, welcome. This is Diane Garza and I'm live once again to bring you some important information for your own leadership development. For those of you that don't know me, I am the CEO and founder of I Catalyze Leadership Development and Coaching, and my goal is to basically help people reach their full potential through leadership development workshops and programs, group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. I am passionate about empowering people, and I truly do see myself as a catalyst for others, a catalyst to help people achieve their dreams and become a better version of themselves. So thanks for joining me today. This Facebook Live is going to be focused on how you can develop some coaching skills for leaders and for managers. So for anyone who's joining in, just feel free to mention in the comments, let me know where you're joining from. I love to get that engagement and participation from you all through these live sessions. So there's Suzette. All right, one of my biggest fans. Thank you so much for joining us today. For anybody else, whether you're watching this live or in the recording afterward, feel free to comment below because I love to check back throughout the week and engage with you, answer any questions you might have, or give you any additional information you need. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to be talking about 5 skills. There are many coaching skills that people can use in their day-to-day work, but I'm going to be focusing only on 5, and those are deep listening, empathy, asking questions and remaining curious, recognizing strengths, and strategic vision for growth. So don't worry, I will be going into detail for all of these, but before I begin, I want to mention why I'm even doing this. I'm extremely excited because I feel that coaching is something that is helpful for anybody, no matter what level you are in an organization. It's becoming more and more important for us to utilize coaching skills because they are those skills that allow us to have more empathy, to communicate better, to have better relationships and more productive teams. In fact, there's already research that shows that leaders who are skilled at coaching their teams can increase the level of employee engagement, morale, and retention, and that has a direct impact on higher productivity and profits. So that's something that I'm sure any company can get behind, and the more that you can adopt these skills in your work and in your profession, you're going to do a lot better. Plus, something that's very important about coaching is that it's something that you can do in 10 minutes or less. It doesn't have to become a huge ordeal or gathering. This is something that you can do informally. You can do it just in conversations with your colleagues or with your direct reports. And so this is something you can develop as a habit. In fact, I'm going to be referring to a book later on, and that is called The Coaching Habit by Michael Bungay Steiner. And he says that by developing this coaching habit, it helps you to overcome 3 vicious circles in the workplace. And those are creating overdependence, getting overwhelmed, and being disconnected. So if anybody can relate with any of those, just let me know in the comments if you felt any of these feelings, whether you see that people are relying too much on you, they don't leave you alone because they always need your input or your answers. That's creating that overdependence, or getting overwhelmed because there's just so much going on, or just being disconnected and not having true meaningful connections or relationships with your team. And so these are 3 things that can be overcome by developing these coaching skills and developing this as a habit. And so before I begin, I think it's important to also mention some assumptions that we come into in a coaching relationship, and they can also apply to you if you adopt some of these skills. And that is that we begin with the understanding that the coachee is a person who already has the answers, okay? So the coachee is intelligent, creative, resourceful, and we serve more as a facilitator, a guide in helping them come to their own solutions. We don't necessarily have to show up with a 12-step process or a book full of answers, again, which creates that dependence. All right, and so I want to say hi to Alex, who's joining us, and also Humberto Villalobos. Thank you so much. We're excited to have more people here. And so Another one of the assumptions that is helpful as a coach is that the coach is a catalyst and the coachee is accountable. So that means that the coach helps, supports this process for the coachee to find their own answers, but the coachee is a person that has to do the work, okay? The coach is not going to bring about transformation and change in a magical way. The coachee has to do the work, has to take those steps proactively to then bring about that change that they want, okay? So now we're gonna get into those five skills that I mentioned. Like I said, there's many coaching skills, but I think these 5 are ones that are more doable. You know, if you hadn't had an intensive coaching training, haven't been through a program, these are skills that you can adopt and you can start to implement in your work style. And so just to review, those 5 lessons that I'm going to talk about today are deep listening, empathy, asking questions and remaining curious, recognizing strengths, and strategic vision for growth. All right, so let's start with deep listening. I'm sure it sounds pretty obvious, but a lot of us are not really listening to each other, right? How many times have you been in a coffee shop with a friend or in a conversation, even in a meeting, and the other person is talking, but you're really just sitting there kind of trying to figure out what your response is going to be, or you're anticipating what their question will be. You've already got the answer. So you know what happens there? You're actually not really listening, okay? There isn't that deep listening. So what's important with deep listening is not just the fact that you have to be present, you have to be focused and listening to what that other person is saying, but it's also about going one step further and looking at the nonverbal communication, whether it's their facial expressions, their body language, you know, what is really going on, right? And reading between the lines. So a good coach is someone that gets fully immersed and can take in all of that information, all of that data to really understand where the other person is coming from. Another thing that's really important here with listening is something that is called involved detachment. Okay, so that means that when you get into coaching conversations, there could be topics that come up that can trigger you or cause an emotional response. And so what you want to do is with involved detachment means that you're fully engaged emotionally, but you're doing it in a way that is not judgmental and is objective. That allows you to keep your center, remain focused and present, and really be able to support the other person in a much more effective way, right? How many times do you have a person that comes to you and is complaining about something that happened, and you just get swept up into that bandwagon and start complaining or get caught up in all those emotions that the other person is sharing with you? And so that is, it's natural. We're human beings and we tend to mirror each other's emotions. There's a lot of research on that too. But what's important as a coach is that you maintain your composure, maintain that objectivity, and that special mindset of being non-judgmental. That's one of the most powerful skills that you can have as a coach. All right, so the second skill that I'm going to mention is empathy, okay? So empathy is really important. It's about connecting with people, again, in a way that is without your own personal agenda, without judgment. It's truly understanding. And it's not just putting yourself in the other's shoes, it's also thinking how they feel in their shoes. It's not about how you would feel in their shoes, okay? So empathy really is about the other person, what their worries might be, how they might be reacting. And so this is an important skill for leadership in general, right? If you're going to be delivering news, if you're going to be giving an announcement, or even if you're in a negotiation session, you really want to be able to know what your target audience is thinking, how they're feeling, how they're reacting, and that's what empathy is all about. It's really being there. It's one of the most important components of emotional intelligence, right? And so that empathy is a skill that will take you very far as a coach. So again, it's being able to understand and imagine where that other person's coming from. All right, so the third skill, and this is one of the most important ones, it's asking questions and remaining curious. Okay, so I'm going to start backwards. Curiosity, here, the way I'm referring to it, it's that difference between knowing and discovering. All right, so having that curiosity is remaining in a way that is, again, without judgment, but increasing your consideration. It also implies inclusion, because by being curious and asking questions, you're getting that person's input. You're not just talking down to them, and you're not just giving orders. And that's essential in a new form of modern leadership. We're no longer living in a world where it was a hierarchical, top-down leadership. Now the organizations that are most agile, that are most successful, are those organizations that have collaboration and teamwork. And so this curiosity is really important to be able to maintain that. And so that next step is asking questions. And this, I will be sure to include a link afterward. I'll include it in the comments because there's a really quick article that you can read on it, and it's an excerpt from this book that I mentioned. So the book that I recommend, if you want to go deeper into this, it's called The Coaching Habit. It's Say Less and Lead More and Change the Way You Lead Forever. It is written by Michael Bungay-Steiner, and he has 7 essential questions that will help you in almost any situation. And I think they're actually really great questions. So for somebody that's just getting started and wants to get into coaching as a leader and coaching your team, I think this is a great way to start. So those questions, the first one is, what's on your mind? Okay, so what's on your mind? It's a question that is open enough that allows a person to bring their own agenda to the table without you having to tell them what to talk about. But it's also focused enough that it's really referring to what's really important for you right now. What's making you lose sleep? What are you really worried about? And so that's a question that helps open any conversation in coaching. The second one is the all question, as he refers to it, and it's, and what else? Right, so usually when people will tell you about a problem, it seems to be just a problem at the surface. So by saying, and what else, it helps you go a level deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to what the real issue is. And that, and what else, is something that you can ask several times so that you can really get to the heart of a situation. Sometimes when people come to you with a problem, the first problem is not the real problem. It might be just a surface or a symptom, and you have to go a little bit deeper to get to what's really happening. And so the third question is, what's the real challenge here for you? Okay, so again, that helps the person focus back on them, because it's very easy for us to fall into blaming or help us, talk about how everyone else around us is not doing what they're supposed to do, or we have such a big problem. But by saying, okay, what's the real challenge here for you? You're helping that person focus back on themselves and see what do they have control of and what can they do to contribute to a solution. The next question is something that's crucial for any relationship, and that's, what do you want? It sounds so simple, but how many times have you actually used it, right? And this is something that I see in coaching as well. When I ask people that, it's actually a tricky question, because they don't stop to think, wait, what do I really want? What do I want to get out of this? Or what do I want the end result to be? And so by asking that, and also, you can, if appropriate, you can lay out what it is that you want. That can help us to really cut down on some of the workplace conflict, right? How many dysfunctional relationships or dysfunctional teams have we seen where there really is just a lack of communication, and there's a situation where there's just different expectations, right? Or people are working kind of on different planes. And that's because they haven't really sat down to see, okay, so what do you want? What are the expectations and the goals that everyone is working toward? The next question is, how can I help? So you, as the coach, as the leader, can then ask how you can be involved. And you're asking that person to take the responsibility and let them think about, okay, so what do I need from you? Rather than you just coming in problem solver mode, which is, quite frankly, a lot of us do that. It's allowing that person to identify how you can help them, and then you can make the decision on how much time you have or how much bandwidth you have to really be able to support them. So that's a great question. The next question is, if you're saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? Okay, so there as a coach, you're also helping that person in prioritizing. Okay, because it's very easy for us to say yes, yes, and add more and more to our to-do list, but we're not eliminating anything. And so that to-do list is getting longer, but we're not getting any more hours in a day. And so as a leader, you can help that person with time management and with prioritizing by guiding them and saying, okay, so if you're going to be working on this, what are some other changes that need to be made to make sure that you can make this happen and to have the best result possible. And the final question to end a coaching conversation, and as the author refers to Michael Bungay, he says these are the coaching bookends, right? So you start off with what's on your mind, and you end with what was the most useful for you, or what was the most valuable for you, okay? And so that helps the person to learn. It helps the person to look back and think, okay, so what am I really taking away from this conversation? And what am I going to take with me and take forward? And so that's really important as a coach. You want to be able to help that person grow and learn. All right, so moving on. Skill number 4, that is recognizing strengths. So as a leader, as a coach, it is extremely important that you help people identify what they're good at, help people see what their natural strengths are. I do a lot of work with Gallup Strengths Finder, and I've seen the power of helping people identify and put into words what are their natural talents, what are they really good at. And there's already so much research that shows that organizations and leaders that focus on strengths are a lot more productive and have a lot more employee engagement than organizations that try to focus on your weaknesses and try to fix your weaknesses. So it doesn't mean that we're going to ignore the fact and just, be naive and say, oh, well, just put aside my weaknesses. No, it's okay. We have weaknesses, but I'm not going to focus on them. I'm going to mitigate them and focus on my strengths. So a good coach, a good leader is someone that can help create those opportunities, build teams where people are really flourishing because they're doing the things that they're really good at. Okay, and so that's really important in terms of a leader. That can also be a coach, is helping people embrace their uniqueness, embrace what they're really good at, and bring that to the table so that everybody can be a lot more happy as well. And so the 5th skill that I'm going to mention is a strategic vision for growth. All right, so a leader is usually someone that might have a bigger picture, might have more information about the organization, what's going on. And so by being a good coach, you're someone that can help identify and see how people fit into that bigger puzzle, help them grow, finding those opportunities for them to expand their skill set, to learn new things. And so that's one of the skills that is key. A coach is someone that at the end, can help you identify goals. What are those things that you want to work on? How do you want to continue growing? And so that's something that's key in terms of a leader being a coach, is how do you continue to help your people grow? And trust me, when people see that in a leader, when they see that their leader is truly engaged with them, actually cares about them and wants them to grow, you're going to have so much more engagement, so much more productivity, because people are actually going to be excited to go to work in the morning and be part of this organization. So those are some of the skills that I think, some of the many skills that almost anybody can adopt, if, in different situations. This works across industries, across sectors. Okay, so again, just to repeat, those 5 skills that I mentioned today are deep listening, empathy, asking questions and remaining curious, recognizing strengths, and a strategic vision for growth. So I would love to hear from you if you're watching live or if you're watching the recording. Let me know, which one of these do you want to try? Which one are you going to go back to the office later today, actually probably tomorrow morning, and say, you know what, I'm going to try this today with at least one person and just see how it goes. And that's what's beautiful about this process, and just any process of personal growth, is that there won't be any change overnight. It's incremental, it's little by little. So try something new, try something small, and then build upon it. Have a small victory and see what else you can do. Okay, so I really encourage you to try some of these. Let me know how it goes. And again, just respond here in the comments. Let me know which one you want to try. And if you thought this was really useful, or if any of your friends can also benefit from it, just help me and share. It'd be great to share this video. So thanks again. I'll be coming to you live again soon with other topics. And I really appreciate you being here with me today. I hope you learned something, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Let me know which one you're going to try. All right, so again, that was deep listening, empathy, asking questions and remaining curious, recognizing strengths, and a strategic vision for growth. All right, guys, thanks. Have a great afternoon.